Hare Krishna, good morning. Today we will discuss first canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 7, verse 25. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Tatayam savataraste bhuvo bhara shirsaya svanam sananya bhavanam anutyanaya sasaket. Translation. Thus you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotees and are rapt in meditation upon you. Now we have the purport by A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. It appears that the Lord is partial to his devotees. Everyone is related with the Lord. He is equal to everyone, and yet he is more inclined to his own men and devotees. The Lord is everyone's father. No one can be his father, and no one can be his son. His devotees are his kinsmen, and his devotees are his relations. This is his transcendental pastimes. It has nothing to do with mundane ideas of relations, fatherhood, or anything like that, or anything like that. As mentioned above, the Lord is above the modes of material nature, and thus there is nothing mundane about his kinsmen and relationships in devotional service. I read the verse again. Tatayam savataraste bhuvo bharanshihrsaya svanam sananya bhavanam anutyanaya sasakrit. Thus you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world and to benefit your friends, especially those who are your exclusive devotees and are rapt in meditation upon you. Om Jnanatimam Yasya Chansa Shanaka Shakshavanvitam Yena Tasmai Shigurave Namah Chitchaitanyamanovistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svam Rupakadamyam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shiru Shiyuda Padkamam Shirum Vaishnavam Sham Shirupam Jagatam Sagana Ragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaduttam Parjanataitam Sikrishna Stanya Devam Shirada Krishna Padan Sagana Lita Shivshakam Vitam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jatpate Gopesha Kopka Kanta Radhakanta Namastate Tapta Kansna Galanshi Radhe Vrindavanashve Vishavana Sita Devi Pranamama Haripriya Anka Kalpta Vishan Kripasan Vaivashan Patanam Pavanabhyo Vaishnabhyo Namo Namo Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Radha Shiva Santi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharani Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paskatyani Desatam Srila Prabhupada Ki. So in this verse, Arjuna is praying to Lord Krishna. This is not the first verse of the prayers, that, of course, this is after the Battle of Kurukshetra. Ashvatthama has killed all the sons of the Pandavas, the sons of Draupadi, and now Arjuna and Krishna are in a chariot again, out on the Battle of Kurukshetra, and they are pursuing. They are following Ashvatthama to arrest him. But Ashvatthama becomes hopeless. His horses become exhausted. He has to leave his chariot, and he doesn't see any outcome anymore. And since he's a qualified Brahmin, that the son of Dronacharya, that he was trained in mysticism in so many ways, and he spoke a mantra that created a nuclear weapon, a Brahmastra. He knew how to create it, but not how to withdraw it. And this nuclear weapon was activated, and they could see it in the sky already. And Arjuna is taking shelter of Krishna, that because he sees the danger coming. And so he prays to Krishna that because Arjuna lives in a relationship with Krishna. He has heard the Bhagavad Gita before. He knows Krishna's position. That and because he meditates always on Krishna. Meditation on Krishna purifies our consciousness, and we realize that we are an eternal spirit soul, not this body, and that frees one from anxiety, one becomes peaceful. Krishna explains that in Bhagavad Gita. He explains that in 529 Bhagavad Gita, that 527. Bhaktam Sagatapasam Sarvaloka Marishvam Sudam Sarvabhutanam Hyatvam Santin Richati. One who knows that Krishna says that I'm the proprietor of everything, because he's the source of everything, he's the proprietor of everything. Because he's the proprietor of everything, he has the right to enjoy everything. And he's in everyone's heart, he's the friend of all living entities. And one who knows this, that Santim Richati, Santim means peace. One becomes peaceful. That so that is the result of someone who knows Krishna and who meditates on Krishna. That because a devotee knows, Krishna says, Sarvasya Samridishan Vistamata Smitihan Apamsa Vedas Sarvame Vavetya Vedanta Krit Vedavita Vachan. Krishna says, I'm in everyone's heart. And for me comes remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness. So everything we know, everything we can't remember, that everything we remember, it's due to Krishna. You cannot say, next moment I'm going to remember that. No, if Krishna gives you the remembrance from within the heart, that I desire to move my hand, and my hand moves. But the material nature is doing that. The soul only desires that. We even don't know how it works, how we don't command this muscle and this muscle and this muscle. No, we don't know how it works. But it's Krishna within the heart who does that. And a devotee knows that, and therefore he makes Krishna the center of his life. Opposite to that is materialistic life. They meditate on sense objects for their sense gratification, for giving pleasure to a body which they are not, which they are going to lose soon. We change bodies, Krishna says. And it's a life full of anxiety. We meditate on temporary things, but we are eternal as spirit souls. It doesn't work. But things are not for our sense gratification. It's for Krishna's pleasure. So due to the scriptures, we can see how the material and the spiritual world are functioning. How they are functioning. By the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, we can understand that. So it's important as devotees that we meditate on the Lord, that we meditate on the words of the Lord, Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam, and on the associates of the Lord. Because that is what the mind desires. It wants to meditate on something. But only meditation on Krishna will give us satisfaction. And to learn how to do that, we need guidance from experienced devotees. Now in the purport here, Prabhupada starts, it appears that the Lord is partial to his devotees. There's a first sentence. It appears the Lord is partial to his devotees. That we have still the purport on the screen. Now I'm going to Bhagavad Gita. Just a moment. I'm going to the 9th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. There you have verse 29. Samaham sarvabhuteshu namet veshu stinapaya yeba chanti tumam bhakta mayatete sapyam. Krishna says, I'm for no one, nor I'm partial to anyone. So Krishna says, I'm not partial to anyone. I'm equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. Is in me, and I'm also a friend in him, to him. That is very interesting. So Krishna says, I'm partial to anyone, but for my devotee, I have some special place. I make some special arrangements. I'm partial to my devotees, Krishna says here. I'm impartial to everyone. I give them the reactions of their past deeds. But to my devotee, I take care. Now, if we go back to the purport that of our verse here, 25. The verse says, thus you descend as an incarnation, thus Arjuna praying to Krishna, you descend as an incarnation to remove the burden of the world. Well, Krishna is Mayadrakshana Prakriti. He's the superintendent of material nature. Does he need to come to remove the burden of the world? This is stated in the Bhagavatam. Whenever there is trouble in the material world, the presiding deities of the planets where the trouble is, they go to Brahma, explain there is a rise of demoniac power who wants to exploit all the resources, and so please help to remove that burden. And we see that burden on the earth is there today. So many ways that nuclear explosions, so much pollution, so much exploitation, and drilling holes in it. And why? Just for sense gratification, for the temporary body. And they don't look further to the next generation, whether they will have still pure water, pure air, no concern, now enjoying, let us exploit and do business. So this is going on. Does Krishna have to come for that? No. If just by his desire, he can create a wind and kill them all. That's God. He does not need to come for that. But it comes to benefit your friends here. Krishna says, especially those who are your exclusive devotees. Exclusive devotees means pure devotees. You have different kinds of devotees. Pure devotees are those who are pure in heart. That are those who have pure intentions. What is a pure intention? That's explained in so many ways in the scriptures. That Savaipum Sapodamo Yato Bhaktirodoxia Ahaitu Kapatiota Yatma Supashidoti. That the highest occupation of mankind is to engage in pure devotional service to the Supreme Lord, who is transcendental, adoxia, who cannot be seen by the material senses, impossible. But to be pure, there are two conditions. First condition is ahaituki, no material motivation, means just to please God out of love, not asking something in return, not going to church and praying for all the problems that we have to solve it. No, just serving God. That out of love, nothing asking in return. And apatiyati, always. One must do that always. And when one does that, one becomes very satisfied, because Krishna gives that satisfaction in the heart, and Krishna takes care of his pure devotees. 9:25 Bhagavad Gita. Ananya Sintiantamam Yechana Payapasti Tesam Nitya Bhuktyam Yogasena Famyam. Krishna says, one who serves me with Ananya Bhakti, pure devotion, I protect his consciousness, what he has. What he has is his pure consciousness. And I give him more opportunity to advance spiritually, to transcend these modes of material nature, to make spiritual advancement. If you are in spiritual consciousness, there is no suffering anymore. You don't identify with the body anymore. You understand the body is an instrument, a temporary instrument. I will lose it and I get a new one. No problem. But the problem is that we think we are humans. But we are spiritual beings. We are the consciousness in this body, that's spiritual. That doesn't come from matter. That the difference between a dead body and a living body is a living body minus consciousness is a dead body. Consciousness, that's what we are. Consciousness comes from the spiritual platform, and from spirit comes matter. But most people are too dull to understand that that simple thing, that we are different from this body. That we say my head, my heart, that my tongue. It's all mine, but where is this I? The I is the consciousness. And Krishna protects that, our spiritual advancement. So Spiritual life is an evolution of consciousness. From Annamaya, animal consciousness, which is food consciousness. That animals are only interested in food. Then Pranamaya, a little higher, that one realizes I'm not alone. There are other living entities who also want food. And a little higher is Jnanamoya, or Jnanamoya, or the understanding that or the realization that I'm thinking, willing, that so one starts to identify with the subtle body, which we are also not. Very dangerous to identify with the mind, that one must control the mind, not be controlled by the mind. Who controls the mind? Is the intelligence. With intelligence, we control the mind. But the soul must direct the intelligence to control the mind, because the desire comes from the soul. If I realize that, one comes to the next stage, I'm not this body. And that's Vijnana Moya. One understands I'm not a body. What is the process to extract me from matter? That is as explained in Vedanta Sutra. Atato Brahma Jihyas. Now you have the human form of life. This is a higher level of consciousness. So you should understand who you are. You are Brahman. You are spiritual. You are the consciousness, Brahman, not his body. And that consciousness is spiritual, is eternal. That it can be overcovered for the moment by material influence, subtle and gross bodies. But yes, you die, and it's like we go in deep sleep. In deep sleep, there's still consciousness, because you wake up later and you say, oh, I had a deep sleep. That in the deep sleep, the consciousness is withdrawn within the soul, but it's still there. And death is the same thing. It's withdrawn into the subtle body until the next gross body has been created in the womb of the next mother, which is assigned by the super soul. Super soul is the driver with the subtle body who brings you to the next body according to your consciousness, the consciousness you have created in your life. But this Vijnana Moya is not sufficient. One must come to Ananda Moya. Ananda Moya is the goal of life. Ananda Maya Vyasata, Vedanta says. You must come to realize your eternal, blissful nature. And that blissful nature is only achieved through living in our relationship with Krishna. And that's the next line in the purport. Everyone is related with the Lord. You cannot break it. Krishna is in your heart. But now we have forgotten him. We forget him. Then Krishna says, if you forget me, you think you are the only doer in this world? Okay, stay in illusion. I give you the reactions of your karma. And good and bad, you have created it in the past. So I'm equal to you. I'm not giving you more reactions than you, or more pain, or more suffering, or more pleasure than you deserve. He's equal. But for his devotees, he's more inclined here. He's everyone's father. Yeah? No one can be his father, and no one can be his son. His devotees are his kinsmen. We are like children of God. And his devotees are his relations. Because the devotee lives in a relationship with Krishna. We see in the Bhagavatam the story of Durvasa Muni. Durvasa Muni was a great mystic yogi, but he was not a devotee of Krishna, he was not meditating on Krishna. But one day he gave trouble to Ambarish Maharaj, who was a pure devotee of Krishna. Ambarish Maharaj meditated always on the Supreme Lord. He used his mind to meditate on Krishna. He used his hands to cleanse the temple. He used his his legs to walk to the temple. He used his nose only to smell the flowers offered to the Supreme Lord. All his senses were engaged constantly in the Supreme, in the service of Krishna. And Durvasya Muni, because Ambarish Maharaj, he did not follow the etiquette of not drinking or eating anything when a saint came. The etiquette is that one should fast and offer a meal to the saintly person and then drink or eat afterwards. But he had been fasting for a long time, and the time to break the fast was there. And Durvasa Muni came. And he asked the sages, what should I do? I have to break the fast. Well, the sage said, you break the fast with a little water. That's all. But Durvasa Muni, with his mystic power, knew what happened, and he became very angry. And in his anger, he created a demon. He took one hair of his head and threw it on the ground, and a big demon came to kill Ambarish Maharaj. At that time, Krishna's chakra appears, his Sudarshan chakra, and killed the demon and started to follow Durvasa Muni. And Durvasa Muni fled all over the universe and could not get rid of the Sudarshan chakra. He came even to Svetatvip and asked Vishnu for advice. And Vishnu told him about the relationship of his pure devotees with him. He said, Sadhavo Ridyam Mayam Sadhanam Ridyam Matvam Matan Yatinatyanti Mamte Bhyomanarapi. The pure devotee is always within the core of my heart, and I'm always in the heart of the pure devotee. So, my devotees do not know anything else but me, and I do not know anything else but them. So that's quite a relationship with God. That's the pure devotee. Of course, purification in the heart usually takes many years, 30, 40 years of sadhana to practice that. But when you become a devotee, like Ambarish Maharaj, then the Lord takes care of everything. Because he gives everything to the Lord. He has surrendered everything. So this is the care Lord Krishna gives to his devotees who live in a constant relationship with him. That we see that also in the 8th canto, the story of Mohini Murti. At that time, in the universe, the demonic powers were very, very powerful. The demons became very powerful, and the demigods, who were devotees of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, they got in trouble. So, and they went to Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu said, yes, now time is in the favor of the demons, but what you do, he said, you make a truce with the demons. And he said, you propose them to churn the milk ocean, and so that the demons and the demons and the demigods would cooperate to churn from the milk ocean the nectar of immortality. So they proposed that the demons to make a truce and cooperate together. And the demons agreed. And but of course they had to move the Mandana mountain that from to the ocean of milk, and it was very heavy, and some died by demigods and demons died by it was so heavy. So they asked Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu helped to bring it to the milk ocean. And of course they needed, but then the Mandana hill was so heavy, if they put it in the ocean, it would sink. And yeah, they could not use it as a churning rod. So then, again, Lord Vishnu appeared as Kurma, and so that they could put the mountain on the big tortoise. And of course, Kurma is an incarnation of the Supreme Lord, one of the 10 avatars. And for him, it was like an itching feeling, a good feeling to have this mountain on his back. And then they needed a churning rod. And they got Vasuki, the serpent. And then they started to churn, and of course, at one side were the demons, and at the other side were the demigods. The demigods were at the front, at the mouth of Vasuki, and all the demons were at the back, at the tail. And immediately the demons became envious and said, we are the great scholars of the Vedas, that we should have the best position. We want to be at the head of the snake. And Lord Vishnu immediately said, yeah, let us go to the back. And they changed positions. So the demons got the head at the head of the snake, Vasuki, and then the demigods the tail. And they started to churn, but then when they started to churn, there came heavy fire out of the mouth of the mouth of Vasuki. And many of these demons were burnt alive. But so yes, but then the first thing that came out of that churning of the milk ocean was poison, a very deadly poison, and the Hala poison. And they were thinking what to do with this poison. We can't continue, it will poison everything. And they went to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva, he agreed. He consulted with Parvati, and Parvati knew if he drinks that, it will not affect him. So he drank all the poison. You can see many pictures of Lord Shiva drinking this poison. And then finally, so many things came out of it. Lakshmi came out, Usaishava, the horse, the Airavata, the heavenly elephant, which went to Indra. So many things came out of this churning. But finally, Damvantar appeared with a pot of nectar in his hand, the nectar of immortality. And immediately the demons snatched the pot away. So then the demigods went to Lord Vishnu and said, "But can you help? What to do now?" So Lord Vishnu said, "No problem, I will appear as Mohini Murti." and he appeared in his female form, God in his female form, Mani Murti. And when the demons saw this female form, they all became charmed and came under control of her. And Mani Murti functions a little as an arbitrator. And he said, I will distribute it equally, and no problems. And they gave her the pot of nectar, and we know after that the nectar was distributed to the demigods first. So she cheated the demons. So this is a story in the 8th canto, which clearly shows how Krishna is partial to his devotees. Because devotees, they sacrifice their lives for the welfare of others. Krishna knows this. So that is the purpose of our practice in Krishna consciousness, to live in a relationship with Krishna. The Padma Purana says, Smartavya satatam Vishnu Vishmartavyo na yatuchit. Sarva vida nisedasyo etyor eva kinkara. So Krishna, this verse said, Krishna is the origin of Vishnu. That's the first thing. Krishna is the source of all incarnations. Also Vishnu. So it should always be remembered and never forgotten at any time. So we should always remember Krishna. That's the first instruction. And the second instruction, never forget him. So all the rules and prohibitions in the scriptures are the servants of these two principles. And how to do that, Krishna prepares us in Bhagavad Gita. That's one who is in this higher consciousness, living in a relationship with Krishna. Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampane Brahmana Kavasni Sunishev Svapagacha Panida Samadarshana. So a devotee that he sees in the heart of every living being, in the heart of a Brahman, in the heart of a dog eater, even in the heart of an elephant, he sees the Supreme Lord. So he sees, he knows that God is all-pervading, is everywhere. So he's also in the deity. He sees God in the deity, on the altar, but it sees God also in everyone's heart. And therefore he respects everyone. It's not that we embrace a tiger, but we respect Krishna in the heart of the tiger. Yes. And how to see Krishna acting in this world. That's the beginner stage of Krishna consciousness, to learn this. In the beginning of the 10th chapter, Arjuna asked Krishna, you are all-pervading, but how can I see you in this world? How can I see you? Because Krishna, as God, the absolute truth, has three aspects. Vedanta Tattvavistat, Vedanta Tattvavidas Tattvam Jnanam Advayam Prameti Paramatmeti Bhagavan Iti Sapyade. The great sages have concluded that the absolute truth has three aspects: Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So the ultimate feature of the absolute truth is Bhagavan, a transcendental person who is all-pervading. But his is situated in Goloka Vrindavan, in the spiritual world. But at the same time, as Paramatma, his expansion, he's in everyone's heart at the same time. And he's in every atom. He's Brahman. He pervades everything. These are three aspects. And these three aspects must be thoroughly understood by a devotee. Therefore, we need to hear the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. In Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains how to see Krishna in this world. That, like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna prepares us. Chapter 5, verses 8 to 12. It says, one who eats, sleeps, that evacuates, opening his eyes, closing his eyes. We do all these things, but we know that as a soul, we are not doing actually anything. This is done by material nature. That so we observe. We know I desire to remove my hand. My hand moves, but only if Krishna wants. He moves it because we desire. He's in our heart. We are co-pilots. He's always with us. He never left us. But now we do like he does not exist. We wanted to be the controller ourselves. But Krishna never left us. That so yes, this is, but in the 10th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, there Arjuna is asking, how can I see you in this world? And then Krishna explains more than 80 vibhutis, how we can see him in the world. He said before already, I'm the taste of water. That I'm the light of the sun and the moon. That among the animals, I'm the shark. That among the mountains, the Himalayas. Among the sages, Narada Muni. So he gives so many ways. We see, every day we see the sunlight. Krishna says, I'm the light of the sun. That without Krishna, there would be no sun. that in the Vedas, the sun is described as the eye of Krishna, eye of God. And then the Bhagavatam describes the creation 2 times completely. And by reading it, we become conscious how Krishna is all this pervading this entire world. In the 7th canto, Hiranyakashipu, the demoniac father of Prahlad Maharaj, who was a pure devotee, is asking Prahlad, where is your God? Show him. Is he in this pillar? And Prahlad said, yes, he's in this pillar. And Nrsingadev came out of the pillar because his pure devotee was in danger. So that is the relationship with a pure devotee and the Supreme Lord. But to attain that position, we must surrender, Krishna says. Surrender is described in 3:30 in Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says, surrender all your works on me, and with the understanding who I am. I'm the proprietor of everything. I'm the enjoyer. I'm the friend of everything. With that understanding, and without any sense of proprietorship, nothing is ours. Things may be under our care, but it belongs to Krishna. It was not there before we came, and it will still be there when we leave all these things in this world. But it's not ours, it's Krishna's. So without false ego, without thinking I'm the enjoyer, no, we act out of love, giving things for Krishna's enjoyment. And when we act for Krishna's enjoyment, we become connected with the spiritual energy, and then we feel this ananda, this bliss, which is bhakti ras. Bhakti ras is described in the nectar of devotion. Bhakti ras is experience of the sweet mellows in our relationship with God, with Krishna. And this is of a nature of eternal bliss. The difference between material enjoyment is bhoga tyag. Some you enjoy, some not. You're after an ounce. We work 5 days a week. It's renunciation, tyag. And in the weekend, bhog. Short enjoyment, it goes very quick, and we are again Monday. Again working, wishing that it was already Friday. That's the material world. But this is Ananda. This Ananda is eternal. That eternally living in one's relationship with Krishna. It can be done in this material world if one becomes very advanced. And that is the purpose of life, to develop love for God. That is what Krishna is teaching us. So, thank you. Any questions on this verse, please?
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for giving us glimpses of so many pastimes of the Lord. Maharaj, in the class you did mention, and I'm just trying to understand, Maharaj, whether I got it correctly. Maharaj, you mentioned about it is important to have pure intention than pure heart. Is that the correct understanding? Like,
Yeah,
well,
well, this is confirmed in Nectar of Devotion by Srila Prabhupada. He quotes it many times. When one just desires to serve the Lord with one's body, mind, words, and intentions, then one is already implicitly liberated. One will soon be liberated. That is practically the only thing we have to develop. We need to learn to serve Krishna without material motivations, only to please him, and nothing asking in return, out of love. That's pure love. That if one practices that, one can practice that even with an impure heart, and it will make the heart pure. And how do we do that? By engaging in the service of the Lord's representative, the spiritual master, who is also a pure devotee. We serve him, and we serve in his mission. Like a great opportunity today is the beginning of the Srila Prabhupada's book marathon. We go out distributing Prabhupada's books, give it to others. That pleases Krishna, that pleases Srila Prabhupada. It's nothing for ourselves. It's engaging in the mission of the Supreme Lord. And that is the way to become quickly purified. When you act out of pure devotional service, you are protected by the Lord, even if your heart is impure. You just must do it continuously. That's where many times the problem lies. And we see in the beginning of our movement that the intention of all these hippies and these those who joined in the beginning, they gave everything up just to please Prabhupada. And that period in the history of our movement is called the Hare Krishna explosion. We spread all over the world like wildfire, could not be stopped. Millions of books went out, that we had so much spiritual power. And that missionary spirit we should revive. And that is a shortcut to become quickly pure in heart. Because one has to endure a lot, that tolerate. But by that tolerating, Krishna is pleased. And we give up our attachments very easily. Right? Does that help, Purnachanda Prabhu?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you very much.
So, Indriyash Prabhu, you raised your hand.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
Maharaj, my question related to this Mohini Murti. When she was distributing this Amrita, and she cheated with this demigod, a demon. And I don't know it is correct, she cheat, and then how people and how devotees learn. And then another thing, in this cheating name, and then now sometimes we see that some devotees in the temple, they are collect money for this temple. That time they are also telling lie. Is this correct to telling lie for this? I don't know.
That it's against our principle of truthfulness. Srila Prabhupada always encourages when we do book distribution to be straightforward. That yeah, of course, straightforward. That does not mean we can not apply commercial techniques sometimes. Like the devotee he was distributing books in the airport, and he came across a man and he wanted to give him a Bhagavad Gita. And the man said, I cannot concentrate on reading because I can't sleep at night out of anxiety, too much anxiety. And the devotee said, oh, then this book is for you. Because this book, because he wanted to give him a Bhagavatam, first canto, said in our temples in the morning, when we open the book and the speaker start to read about the book, then half of the listeners immediately fall asleep. That all anxiety goes. So you need this book. And of course, it's true that if you read the Bhagavatam, you will become free from anxiety. That even if just hearing it once, just being in the class, the effect is there. As long as you are hearing, your anxiety will go. So it's true, but it's a little a technique but generally we should not lie or something. No, that's not good. That's Srila Prabhupada. Because we are presenting Prabhupada and we are representing people with ideal character. So it will go against us at the end. Does that help in the response?
Okay, thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, good. Then if there are no further questions, looking forward to see you. Yes, Mike.
Hare Krishna Maharaj and assembled devotees. Thank you for sharing the story about the ocean of milk this morning. It's the first time I've heard the story in different contexts many times, but it's the first time I heard it in the context of explaining Krishna saying I'm impartial, and yet he is disposed towards his relations And so each time, my takeaway today was each time that the suras, the good guys in the story, hit a wall with their own efforts, they had to go and ask Krishna. It's not that the solution was always readily available to them. Each time, it seemed like multiple times they had to go and ask Krishna. Could you expand on how that relates to us?
Yeah, well, we have the example of today's verse. This verse is spoken by Arjun. Arjun is speaking to Krishna. And he sees trouble and he cannot solve it. This Brahmastra is going to kill him. So he's taking shelter of Krishna. He's approaching Krishna. I cannot solve it. He's surrendering. He's praying for Krishna to his protection. That is not immediately, we can at one side, we can say that's not pure devotional service. That because he's praying to Krishna for protection. But that is what Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. There are four kinds of people who surrender unto me, Krishna says, and four kinds of people who don't surrender. The four who are surrendering unto me, Shaturvita Bhajantimam Yechana Paripashta Tesam Nitya Bhuktyam Yogakshema Vamyam. No, Shaturvita Bhajantimam Yechana Skritarana Achta Shichna Sharachtarti Yani Sa Paratakshaba. Krishna says there are four kinds of people who are pious and they surrender unto me. They want becoming free from distress, miseries, that they want, or they want wealth, or they are curious, or they want to know the absolute truth. Four kinds, Krishna says. And if we come to Krishna consciousness, we are not pure in heart. We are one of these four. That usually we are one of these four, mostly those in distress, and we want to take shelter. That so yes, so it's good to approach Krishna when you are in trouble. Then Krishna reciprocates. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, these four, they are very dear to me. But the most dear is the jnani, the one who wants to know me and who wants to develop love for me. That's the most. So we have to come gradually to that platform of pure devotion. And when you are a pure devotee, you don't pray for Krishna for anything. You just want to serve him. And whatever comes, that Krishna will take care. And that's the example of Ambarish Maharaj. But we cannot jump artificially to that level. We have to be honest with ourselves and know we are in trouble and we need help. That we need help materially, spiritually to advance. And at a certain time, if we become more advanced or our consciousness develops further, we become fearless because we have realized our spiritual identity, and we know this body is only a covering. Because when you have realized your spiritual identity, then when death comes, you continue in your spiritual body. There is no interruption. That's fearlessness. And we are advancing towards that through the performance of sadhana bhakti, the following of rules and regulations under the guidance of the spiritual master, chanting Hare Krishna, giving up offenses. There are 10 offenses to be given up, avoiding sinful actions, engage in devotional service in so many ways, selfless devotional service. And it's a process that purifies the heart and that takes many years. And then we come to that level. So according to our level of advancement, we pray to Krishna or we don't pray to Krishna. As beginners, we have to pray to Krishna and take shelter. And Arjuna is taking that role. If we become an Uttamadikar after some lives or after 40, 50 year practice and become pure, then we don't care, live or die. It's up to you, Krishna. I'm just your servant. If you want me to serve someone else, and one is convinced, Krishna is my only maintainer and protector. So that is an evolution of surrender, saranagati, surrender. In the beginning, there are 6 phases, I think. First, you must reject what's unfavorable for Krishna consciousness, what creates bodily attachment. And then, the next step, you must accept what's favorable for Krishna consciousness, following the instructions of the spiritual master. Then one comes to realize Krishna is my maintainer. It's not by my actions that I'm maintained. Krishna maintains me. And Krishna is my only protector. And then one becomes humble, and then one comes to the stage of surrender. And that's a process that usually takes years. Because to purify the heart is not an easy thing in this world. Does that help, Mike?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, something to think about. Good. Good, thank you very much. Looking forward to see you next week. That's Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Bhakti Prabhupada Maharaj ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki.